Okay, hey guys, probably the last video you're going to be seeing from me for this whole presentation program project. There we go, got through all the P's. This is just kind of a reflection video, just me talking about the project itself now, looking at it from the end compared to when I started. When I started, this whole thing was a very daunting task and very scary, and especially not knowing what to do. Like when I was at school and I studied art, I always related better to the people who painted, or the people who drew and those kind of things. Never really much to the performance artists themselves. Besides Joseph Beuys, who I have referred to as one of the creatives of the week, and I've put him in my process book, and he's on my blog if you want to go check him out. He is a very cool artist. But other than that, I never really understood performance art that well. Could respect it, but I never got into it. But throughout this whole challenge period, I've got a better understanding of performance art, of why it's done, why it's actually so important, and the meanings behind all these things. A lot of the time, you just think, like with Marina Abramovic, when you look at her work that we studied in class, you look at her with that one where the artist is present and she's sitting there at the table, and people are coming in and sitting and talking to her or viewing her or looking at her or whatever they wanted to do. And it's actually a really emotional piece, and it brings out a lot of emotion in people. And I tried to do the same with my works. I think I did do that pretty well. Looking at the first challenge that I did, and I've spoken about on this blog, in one of my earlier vlogs, vlog. The first challenge where I didn't talk, when I was in class and did a presentation on this, and Alice, the lecturer, asked for feedback from my classmates. They all turned around and said I did it really well, which was hard because, I mean, you got guys like Reese in your class. Man, that guy's hysterical. He can get you to laugh at anything. So they were challenging, but people got the message that I was trying to get across, and they understood it. They appreciated. They struggled because it's putting something different out there, but they got the message. So I thought I executed that one well. I got a lot of emotion back. I got sympathy from some of my friends, like Sadia, who, like I said in the previous videos, she would message me, and she would type out a message saying, "What's it? Yes. Can I do this or whatever?" And I would respond with another message back. So that was easier. Whereas other people, because I couldn't communicate properly with them, struggled. And it just showed how fickle people are. Where when it's on social media, they're happy to talk their way, but when they want something now and they're in a conversation, if they can still communicate via small talk, which most people can't anymore, then they don't want to wait, which I thought was interesting. So I related that, like I said in the previous video, to people who are deaf and are mute and have to communicate through like sign language and all that stuff, and all the struggles they go through and how I overcame those challenges. So I thought I did that one well. Then going forward, I can't remember which one I did next. It was didn't have my right use of the right arm. Yes, that one struggled with. Once again, became more sympathetic and empathetic for people who have disabilities in some kind of manner. I got a lot of negative reactions back, as I stated. I thought I would. People aren't very sympathetic nowadays, and as a society, I get the feeling we're very cold, because we are so technology based, and technology is emotionless. No matter how many emoticons we can create, it will never be the same as giving somebody an actual hug or something like that. So we're becoming a very emotionless society, which I discovered throughout this whole project. We aren't very forthcoming with coming to help people. We're very quick to criticize and put people down because it makes ourselves feel better, which I also saw in this project, and in particular judging people as well, because then we suddenly all high and mighty and makes us feel better about our lives, sorry. But we won't help people or build them up because then suddenly it's seen as weakness from our side, and also because then suddenly it's like somebody getting above us, status wise, rank, whatever you want to use it as, but suddenly they're becoming better than us at something just because we helped them. So it's sad to see that. Then going forward, I can't remember which one I did next. I'm just gonna say the body. Oh no, I did PJs. PJs. Yeah, that one it taught me, like I said in the video, to be less judgmental and more understanding of people. Like I say, throughout this whole thing, I've become more comfortable with myself, with my constructed self, but with my body in particular. I mean, we learnt about mesomorphs and ectomorphs and endomorphs and all the wonderful morphs out there. And I mean, I know I'm a big guy. I'll never be a small guy. I have big bones. But over this project, I've become more comfortable with the fact that I carry weight, and that I don't necessarily fit the stereotypical man in today's society who has tons of tattoos, even though I don't have a problem with those anymore, or the guy who's like, built like a jock, and as my dad and I said, the triangle figure where he's seriously top heavy. He's got big shoulders and small legs and things. I'm now exceptionally comfortable with the person I am, and with the clothes I wear. I mean, also, like I say, I won't judge people now who wear PJs. I'll probably just smile and see the funny side of it. So yeah, I've learned a lot throughout this project. It's been intense. I've struggled. Um, yeah, it took a lot out of me throughout this whole project, though. I mean, I've been really uncomfortable at home. I've been completely uncomfortable out of my comfort zone because um, since before the start of term, I was renovating my room. We're back in my room now. It's all finished. I moved back in on the weekend. Um, and what happened was I've been living in the spare room, so literally I had to gut this whole room out, and literally put everything in the spare room. So it's like been living in a storage closet kind of thing, and and I did that not long after New Year's, and I've only just moved back in, like I say, a couple of days ago, and only now am I starting to feel comfortable again in my own home and space. So I've got my desk back, I've got my shelves with all my books, I've got everything back the way I wanted after repainting and hanging up new shelves and putting stuff in the room. I only now feel comfortable again, so that whole thing has been interesting as well because I've been uncomfortable at college but uncomfortable at home at the same time throughout this whole challenge. So um, like watching people who've been doing the challenges where they've been disrupting their rigid routines and things like that, where they've taken stuff and they've messed it up on their laptops, or they've taken their drawers and completely upended them, for lack of better words, and mixed everything up. For me, it hasn't been so big for me, like routines and rituals, because mine are already so messed up because of living in the spare room for like nearly 2-3 months now. Um, I understand what it's like to adjust, and so I'm now. I think throughout this project I became less rigid with looking at routines and rituals. But I think because of my situation at home, I became excuse me, sorry. I became less rigid with these kind of things, and I learned to adapt to situations. So like at college, if suddenly a routine would change or a ritual would change or something went wrong, I would just adapt and be like, oh well, it's just one of those things, instead of everybody else like, oh shit, and panicking like, oh no, 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 it's going wrong, it's going wrong. For me, it was just like, oh well, whatever, something's happening. So yeah, throughout challenges, whether they were personal or whether they were public, I've definitely grown. The nail biting, the vices one, you should have done this years ago. That helped. Like I said, I don't bite my nails now. So it actually transformed my whole perception of my vice into something new. And so now I can't say that vices I'm sorry, I can't say that nail biting is a vice of mine anymore, so I don't really do it. Um, yes, I still have probably confidence issues and things like that, but those are just my things. But it's now not reflected externally from biting my nails and stuff like that. So that was really, really great for me, and was a real growth point for me, one of the biggest ones, I think, because, I mean, okay, it's horrible to admit, but I mean, I've been biting my nails since I was probably like 5, which is scary. So it's a that one is quite major for me to no longer be doing that. It's quite special, I think. So I've grown in that capacity. But I think just in general, I mean, looking at like society with social media and then the way people are, I now just look at the world completely differently. And I mean, although social media never had a massive impact on my life, I mean, with regard to going on Facebook and my phone and stuff like that, I've even said in my process book, I'm not a slave to my social media. It doesn't dictate who I am and what I do and stuff like that. But it's made me more aware and more understanding of what it's doing to the people around me, instead of just being critical, like I always was like, oh, people are so this or that because of social media or because of going on Facebook all the time or this or that. I now at least have a better understanding of why the way people are because of social media and the greater impact that it's actually having on our society, like with relation to communication, how it's causing communication to slowly die, for lack of better words. It is, like we don't say G to G when we say to someone got to go. That's SMS language, and we don't use that in our day-to-day lives. But things like LOL are starting to creep in, which isn't good. We're slowly losing the ability to communicate with each other. So I thought that performance, like I said earlier, was a success. Out of all of them, the only one I think that was probably the least well done would have been the reverse day, because I didn't walk backwards in the day. But other than that, I thought it was good. I thought they all actually linked quite nicely, because a lot of them either have the social media trend running through them, or the link with society as a whole, or just in general, like some of them linked over. Like there was the religion with the tattoos, and then religion linked into another one of mine. I can't remember which one it was now. I spoke about it in the video itself, but oh yeah, it was communication, of course. Sorry, but where that linked as well. So they all kind of wound into each other, and quite nicely. So I thought in that regard, I did the challenges very successfully, and I've done a successful project in that regard. I'm glad I've done it. Like I say, I've grown as a person. I'm less rigid, more understanding, sympathetic. I'm getting really repetitive, but I'm better at seeing things from other people's points of views, and less judgmental. That definitely came across from these projects, and like I say, more understanding, but better, just a better person, I think, in general as well. More able to adapt to the situations, no matter how they change. And then on top of that, I'm glad I did them, because it really, really did take me out of my comfort zone and push me at times to my limits. I mean, there were days where I literally wanted to come home and I just wanted to punch something, like a punching bag or something, just to relieve stress and tension because of being prohibited from doing something, or something like that, or having a really frustrating day with people's reaction. Yeah, I'm glad I've done it. It's changed me as a person. I've grown. I think all my challenges were done very successfully. They all got the reactions pretty much that I expected, and people got the message that I was sending across. I don't think necessarily maybe in the religion one, the last one, but that was because I did it almost entirely in a completely Catholic space. If I'd done it interacting with more people who aren't Catholic, they might have got the message more. It's, just because you're Catholic doesn't mean if you have tattoos that you're damaging your relationship with God. It's really not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But overall, I still got the messages across, and people were receptive to what I was putting out there. I didn't enjoy the challenges, but I've enjoyed the process. I hope you guys, whoever's watching, has enjoyed going through all this with me, and that you've enjoyed seeing all these videos of why I did it, how I did it, what the reasons were. what the outcomes were, what people's reactions were, all that kind of stuff. I've enjoyed explaining these things to you. It's actually a lot easier for me talking about it than it is to write about it. So I was so chuffed when we were told by Alice at the beginning of the year that we could do these blogs and do these vlogs as well on our blogs, and explain everything, because that for me is so much better. But yeah, that is me done. Thanks for sticking through it with me, guys, and thanks for watching. So I hope you guys having a good week, and yeah, stay golden. Cheers, guys.